Today's video I'm going to show you guys how to make a sheath for your axe, and this will pretty much finish up the axe series we have. The first video I demonstrated on how to replace a handle, how to locate a good quality axe head. The second was how to properly sharpen, and the third we'll finish off with once you have the axe built and it's properly sharpened, it's very, very important that we protect this edge, because we're going to throw this in the back of our car or truck, toolboxes, and we don't want all of our hard work to go wasted. The tools you're going to need are just a basic leather punch you can get at any hardware store that will punch out the holes for any different sizes. This is a good tool to have in your toolbox for future projects. A Sharpie for drawing, a screwdriver to tighten up your rivets, a pair of heavy industrial scissors, and a really sharp razor knife. To start, we're going to lay our axe or hatchet on here, and we're going to cut a generous amount. So let's hang over about an inch, and we'll cut our first piece. With both pieces cut, we're going to lay them one on top of the other. If they don't fit perfectly, don't worry about it. We can always trim them toward the end. And once we get these matched up, we'll put our first rivet in. And I like to start right here. Make sure you leave enough area so that your rivet sets back and is not too close to the edge. Once that's done, we're going to select the appropriate size hole on this to accommodate our rivet, and we'll punch that hole. Install the female portion of the first rivet on the back side. Hit your holes. Put that in there. Don't tighten these up yet. We're going to want to Loctite all of these before we're finished. But what I'm looking for is to be sure that we are lined up as close as we can on the edges before we mark our next hole. Once we have our rivets on the face here, we're going to try this on for size, and just to make sure we have a little excess material right here, but that's okay, it won't hurt anything. We can cut this down if we want to, or we can leave it. But what we're going to do now is we need to determine where to put our next rivets, which will be on the side here. We've got to keep in mind that this axe head is going to flare out, so we don't want to put one here because we won't be able to get it out. So actually, for what this is, we'll probably need to put one about right here and right here. So we've got our 5 screws in, and we have a nice sheath that fits good and tight. Now you can, if you'd like to do a lower profile or make a radiuses on this, you're welcome to do it. You know, I don't claim to be trying to build saddles for John Wayne or to be a leather expert at all, but for just a few cents, a few pennies, you can build something like this that you'd have a hard time finding. You'd have a hard time replicating something of this quality. I don't have enough of this brown heavy leather to make the strap, so I've got an old belt here. I got it at a thrift store for 50 cents. And what I'll do is I'll cut that strap out of this. We want to determine the width of our strap, depending on your application, but 3/4 of an inch should be just about right. Once we get our strap cut to length and to the width, put a little chamfer on the edge of it there, and we'll come in maybe 3/4 of an inch or so, and put our hole. And when you place this, place your rivet. What I like to do is I like to place the rivet on the female side, or what I consider to be the back side. And you want to place this, follow the top of the head of the axe right there, and choose your location. And don't go too far over here. You'll have difficulty getting the rivet in. Just get enough material in here, maybe come in a third of the way from the back side, and mark that. And we'll go ahead and punch it and put our rivet in. Alright, once we get our back strap fastened on with the rivet, we'll just bring it around here, and what we're going to do is we'll fold this around our whatever clasp it is that you choose, and it's going to go into our snap hook. But the first thing we need to do is to install our snap hook. So placing it, just transfer the same place where you put the rivet on the back of the strap towards the front, and let's install that. And we'll determine how long this needs to be. Cut it a little bit tight to allow for stretch. You can always tighten it up tighten it or loosen it up in the future. Fold this over to the back side and install your clasp, and secure your rivets. Alright, with our final rivet installed and our clasp here, this should be very tight. I like to make these overly tight because they're going to stretch out, and this is some pretty heavy leather. Once this pinches, you're going to gain a little bit, and you can always adjust this. If it gets too loose for you, you simply just make another hole just like you would in a belt and tighten it. But this is going to be fine, so I'll pull this tight and snap it in there, and that's it. I don't think we need to do anything else to this. We have a really well-made, custom-made, handmade scabbard for an axe that is nice. It's a fun project. It will protect the edge of this. It's gives it a little bit of character, and just it's functional. It works well, and it just cost a few pennies to make. I have the same thing here that I made for my splitting axe, as you can see, and it's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but it'll work. And for what it is, it'll keep that edge protected, and it's all you need.